Hello everyone, welcome to this new video. And in this video, we are going to talk about a very interesting technology that is server-sent events. So have you ever wondered while you are using ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, anything, the answers come in real time without you refreshing the page, or when you are watching some stock dashboard, okay, the stock updates are coming in the real time without you refreshing the page. So how these things work? So you may think like, okay, this is very simple. Just use WebSockets or just call the APIs every few seconds. Just poll the server and get the new data. While there are some possible ways to do it, but there is another way which is more simple, more sophisticated, and often overlooked, and that is server-sent events. So in this video, we will understand about server-sent events, and then we will implement server-sent events from scratch in Node.js. And then finally, we will see that how ChatGPT uses server-sent events to show you answers in real time as they are generated. So let's quickly start this video and understand server-sent events. So before understanding server-sent events, let's understand how request response cycle works in case of client and server communication. So basically, this is a simple request response pattern. You have your client and you have your server. Whenever your client needs some data, it will basically send a request to your server, and your server will respond back to the client. Okay, and then that request response cycle completes. Your client gets the new data. For example, if you are building a social media website and you want to show the profile of the user, you will use some API like /profile/profile ID, and you will send a GET request with particular profile ID, and then your server will get that particular data for profile ID, and it will respond the client back with the profile data. And that is how a request response cycle will complete. But the use cases which we discussed, like you want to see live news updates or live stock updates, or in case of AI generated content, you want to show the content as they are being generated, then this simple request response cycle will not work in that case. For example, we talked about ChatGPT. So in ChatGPT, we ask a question, and then we see the answer as they are being generated word by word. So how that happens? We cannot use this simple request response cycle in pattern in that particular use case, right? Because in that case, we'll have to keep on sending new request every few milliseconds or seconds, right? But there must be some easy way to do that, some sophisticated way to do that, and that is why we use server sent events. So in server sent events, what will happen is that client will send a request to the server. For example, here, let's say we send a post request to feed. Let's say we want to build a feed page for the user in the social media website, where we want to show them the news feed as they are being like generated. Okay, so whenever some user updates some new post, the feed should get updated. So what we are doing here is, we are not sending a new request every time. We will just send a uh, new request to the server, and the same connection will remain open, and the server will send us events to the client. Okay, the server will keep on sending new events as they are being generated. And the main thing to note here is that this is just one single connection, and then there can be like multiple events here. Okay, in the same connection, the server is sending back the events. This will become more clear when we see the examples. So basically, the server sent event is this thing only, that client sends a new request to the server, and then the same connection will be used to respond back the events as they are being generated. And then this particular pattern can be used for anything where we want to show the live updates to the user as they are being generated. You can see this example also, like you can consider a server like a news radio station, and a client or browser as you. So you are basically you basically dialed this server. Okay, and you just ask them, okay, I want news updates, and you are just sitting there, and the server is responding you back with the new news as they are coming in. Okay, so you don't have to ask the server every time, okay, what is the news, what is the news, what is the news. Or you can also think about, you are just listening to radio, and some cricket match is happening, and the radio is like giving you live score updates. You don't have to ask the radio that, okay, give me the new scores, give me the new scores every few minutes. Okay, you are getting the new scores as they are being like as the match is being played. So that is how you can compare servers and events. Okay, now you must be wondering, if you have worked with WebSockets, then like why can't we use WebSockets here? Okay, WebSockets also works in that way. It also sends us updates, but WebSocket can be used here, but WebSocket is like it will become a little bit more complicated for this use case. The use case here is very simple. You want updates from the backend. Okay, the client does not want to send any update to the server. It only wants to listen to the updates from the backend, and in that case, server sent event is a better technology than WebSockets. Okay, uh, because in WebSocket, what happens is it is a two-way interactive communication. You can consider the example of, let's say, WhatsApp. If you're building a chatbot like WhatsApp, then you can use WebSockets because there is a two-way communication. Client can also send data to server, and server can also send the data back to the client. Okay, so that is the two-way interactive communication in WebSockets. In case of servers and events, what is happening is there is a one-way communication. The client asks the server for some information, and then the connection will remain open, and the server will keep on sending the data back to the client. So apps like Gemini, ChatGPT, they use this particular pattern. Okay, so now what we will do is we will directly jump into the code, and we'll see how to implement this in code. Okay, so this is a sample web server. Okay, it is written in Node.js, and I'm using Express Server. This is a fairly simple server where we will just see like how to implement servers and events. So this is like an Express server. There is a GET request here, and this is an API endpoint called server events. So whenever the front end or any website they hit on this API, they will start getting like the server sent events. Okay, now you have to note few things like whenever you are implementing server sent events, maybe in Node.js, Python, or any language, a few things remain like fundamental. So you have to set certain headers for your response. So first header is content type. Content type is text event stream. Okay, this is like mandatory. You have to set this content type here, because when you will set this content type in the header, the browser or the client will know that, okay, this is a server sent event, and it basically this is an event stream, and the connection has to remain open. Okay, and you have to like set this header connection keep alive, so it will keep the same connection alive where the backend will keep on sending the events. Okay, and this header cache control no cache, so you will not cache the events as they are happening. Okay, so you will see the real-time data as it is coming from the server. Okay, so these headers are to be set mandatorily when you are building a server sent event API. Okay, and then what will happen is this is basically a dummy code. What I am using this set interval to send some data every 2 seconds. Okay, and you see here I'm using response.write. I'm not using like a response.send. Okay, because that will basically end this connection. Response.write, I'm like writing the data in the same response basically as the data becomes available. So here, like every 2 seconds, we are sending back the data to the client. Okay, and then this is request.on close. So whenever this connection will become uh, close, okay, we will clear the interval, we will end this response. Basically, you will have to clear all the processing which you are doing on the backend whenever this connection gets closed. So the main thing to note is these headers which you will set, and then you can like write the data in the response, and there is a like particular way to send the data back. Okay, so you see like how we are using this format, like we are using this data colon, and then we are using this particular thing. Okay, and whenever you are using this format, you have to write these new lines because they act as delimiters. Because these new lines, two new lines, they will tell the client that, okay, this is a new data. So first time you send this data, the second time you will send new data, then this new line will act as delimiter. Otherwise, there will be no way to know like which is the new data coming from the server. Okay, this is something which we are sending, and then on the client side, this is a simple like index.html. Okay, and this is a simple like web page. What is happening here is that there is just this heading servers and event example, and this is like a placeholder. So this is like unlisted list which we have given the ID events, and here like we will be populating the data as it comes from the server. And this is the JavaScript code which is also fairly simple. So we are using this event source basically class from JavaScript. Okay, and we are passing this connection. So this is the endpoint which we created, server events, and our backend server will run on this particular port. Okay, so this event source, we have created one instance of this class, and this API event source helps us to like connect to the server sent events and listen the streams. Okay, and then what we are doing is we are basically getting this element by ID. So we have created this events, and this event list we will manipulate as we get the data from the backend. So the main thing is this event source API which you have to use, and whenever like a message will come, this gives you this on message thing. So you can basically listen to this on message, and whenever a new message will come from the backend on this particular endpoint, you will receive one event. Okay, and then event will contain this data that basically you can append in this unlisted list. So here like you are appending a new child. So whenever you receive a new data from backend, you will basically update this DOM element. Okay, so this is fairly simple. Now we can just see this in action. So here is our like website which is running here. And what we can do is we can basically refresh this page, and you can see this servers and server events API. And you see like this here, this is an event stream, and you are receiving the messages in real time. This is the same connection. Okay, this is the same connection. Server events, request method is get, status is 200. And if you see like content type, this is text event stream. Okay, and here in event stream you are receiving the messages in real time. You are getting this data, and as I told you, you have to give that new line delimiter, then only it will be considered a new data message. Okay, and that is why you can treat them differently. So here you can see like the response is coming in real time. This is the data you are getting, right? And you see, so instead of this data you can put anything, any update you can put, and your front end will receive this in real time. So this is the beauty of server sent events. Okay, now what we will do is we will see like how ChatGPT uses it. Okay, so in ChatGPT we'll see like how ChatGPT utilizes this thing. So this is like ChatGPT, and what I have done here is I've opened the network tab, and I'm listening to this particular endpoint called conversation. So ChatGPT uses this endpoint conversation to send the response back to the front end in real time. So what we will do, we will have to give it some really long task, otherwise we will not be able to see that in action. So we can write it like, let's refresh this page once. Okay, and let's ask it, write 3000 oops 3000 word essay uh, on server sent events. Thank God, such questions don't come in college, like write a 3000 word essay on servers and events. But let's see like how ChatGPT writes an essay on servers and events in 3000 words. 3000 word is really too much. If you have ever written essay, you would relate to it. But let's see how does it work. We'll just ask it. Okay, and then we got this new conversation endpoint here, and you see here like the data is coming here in real time. Okay, as it is being generated. Okay, so if you compare here, see here, the data will keep on coming, and it is writing an essay. Wow, a 3000 word essay on servers and events. Okay, there was a time when we used to write essay in schools, but with advent of AI, I don't think writing is that cool these days. Because yeah, but yeah, anyways, it is writing, and you can see like in event stream, you can see like they're getting the data, and they may be using a different format, but the thing is same. Like they are sending a type delta data and some timestamp. And then once the message is completely generated, they finally send this indicator that message done. Okay, so you can also send some indicator when the message is completed to just indicate the front end that okay, now the data is completed, no more further like data will be sent back to you, so you can like close the connection, okay, gracefully. So that is how this whole thing works. Okay, so we saw like what is server sent events, we saw like how to implement it in server, and we also saw like how basically ChatGPT uses it. This I think like this will help you to understand server sent events and implement it in your use cases also. Okay, now the question is, when should you use server sent event? So server sent event you should use when basically the communication is unidirectional. You want to convey some updates to your front end, okay, in real time as they are being generated, then use server sent events. Okay, and use WebSockets only if it is a two-way communication, like you are building chatbots, not chatbots, chat apps actually. Okay, then use WebSockets like gaming apps when there are like two-way communication is required. So there is a subtle difference between server sent events and WebSockets, which you have to understand and choose the right technology, because WebSockets, using WebSockets for one-way communication becomes a technology overhead. If you found this video crisp and helpful, then you can hit the like button, and you can also subscribe the channel if you like the work and you want to support my work. And I'll meet you in some other video with some other engineering topic. So thank you very much for watching this video.